Today's full news roundup from Zir News 24. Today is Sunday, the 26th of Asad, 1404 in the Hijri solar calendar, corresponding to August 17th, 2025. I am Sarah Osmani, bringing you the latest news from Afghanistan and around the world. Headlines: UNICEF warns of urgent needs for Afghan children returning from abroad. Uzbekistan delegation visits Kabul to sign 4 major power projects. In Doha, Taliban envoy Sohail Shaheen seeks cooperation with the Qatari Red Crescent. Details: UNICEF has raised urgent concerns for Afghan refugee children returning home. The agency says more than 2 million Afghans, including 500,000 children, have returned from Iran and Pakistan this year alone, with numbers also increasing from Central Asia. UNICEF called for a safe, dignified, voluntary, and phased repatriation process, and urged aid groups to provide humanitarian support, especially for children. In 2024, UNICEF reunited 17,400 children with families at border and transit centers with EU support. By the end of July 2025, it had registered over 6,000 unaccompanied or separated children and reunited them with relatives. In Kabul, Uzbekistan's energy minister, Jurabek Mirzamakmudov, and the country's special envoy for Afghanistan, Ismatullah Ergashev, arrived for an official visit. They met senior Taliban officials and leaders of Da Afghanistan Breshna Sherkat, the national power company. According to officials, 4 major agreements on power generation and distribution will soon be signed, seen as a major step in Afghanistan's electricity development. In Doha, Taliban envoy Sohail Shaheen met Qatar Red Crescent chief Faisal Mohammed Al-Ahmadi, discussing cooperation on heart surgeries for Afghan patients, training Afghan doctors, and rebuilding a cardiology hospital. Both sides appointed focal points to follow up. Afghanistan's Ministry of Public Works said that in 1 week, more than 87,700 metric tons of goods were transported via the country's railway system, mostly fuel, dried fruit, and pomegranate juice. The Taliban embassy in Ankara celebrated the 4th anniversary of the group's takeover, calling it the result of long struggle and sacrifice. Afghan and foreign diplomats, scholars, and residents attended. In Saripol, Taliban religious police stopped a woman from committing suicide, reportedly due to years of domestic violence. Families pledged in writing to end abuse. Officials admit cases of suicide linked to family and economic stress are rising. Gaza conflict. The Israeli military has expanded its offensive in Gaza, including new plans to forcibly relocate civilians. Israeli spokespersons claim displaced families will be given tents and shelter supplies through the UN, though the UN has not confirmed this and called it a dangerous escalation. Israeli airstrikes hit Al-Ahli hospital, killing at least 7 people and wounding many. Heavy strikes also targeted Shuja'iyya, Zaytun, and Askula neighborhoods. In one attack, a house was bombed, injuring 4, while in Al-Mawasi, previously labeled a safe zone, a father, mother, and their 2-month-old baby were killed. The Gaza Health Ministry said 11 people, including children, died of hunger in the past 24 hours. Shifa Hospital's director warned that 200 patients are at risk of dying due to shortages of medicine and food. Prime Minister Netanyahu vowed to continue operations against Hamas, despite risks to hostages. Tens of thousands of Israelis demonstrated in Tel Aviv, demanding an end to the war and the return of hostages. Visa ban and protests. The Palestinian Children's Relief Fund urged the U.S. to reverse its decision to restrict visas for Gazans, calling it dangerous and inhumane, especially for children needing life-saving treatment. Most sick children are taken to Egypt or Jordan, with only a few allowed to the U.S. The Council on American Islamic Relations, CIR, condemned the move as complicity in Israeli genocide. Families of hostages announced a national strike to pressure Netanyahu into a deal with Hamas. Protests have erupted worldwide, with thousands marching in New York and Toronto. U.S., Russia, Ukraine developments. President Donald Trump said after a 3-hour meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska that while talks were useful, no agreement was reached to end the Ukraine war. He said progress was made on some issues, but the main conflict remains unresolved and depends on President Zelensky's decisions. Trump made no mention of sanctions, raising concern in Kyiv and among EU allies. Putin repeated demands that NATO halt expansion and address what he called the root causes of the conflict. The The meeting ended without formal results. Ahead of his White House visit with Trump, President Zelensky claimed Ukrainian forces had pushed Russian troops back 2.5 kilometers near Sumy, describing it as battlefield progress. He vowed Ukraine would not cede land to Russia. Pakistan. In Kohat, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, gunmen opened fire in the Shino-Kel area, killing 7 people aged 17 to 31. No group has claimed responsibility. Police say attackers fled, and motives remain unclear. Targeted killings have been rising in recent months, causing security concerns and displacing many families. Putin warns Europe. After the Alaska talks, Putin warned European countries to avoid provocative steps that could undermine peace efforts. He said success depends on responsible behavior by all sides. Sports. In Paktika's Sharan, 50 athletes from skating, canoeing, and gymnastics federations held demonstrations. In Nangarhar's Rodat district, 40 teams competed in tape ball cricket, with Gulam Dog Club defeating Khan Club in the final. In Coast's Matun City, 40 athletes took part in a judo competition. Chapan Club placed first. In Parwan's Jabal Saraj, a futsal tournament was held, with Ittihad Club beating Hamas Club 5-4. That's all for today. Follow Zir News 24 on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Until tomorrow's broadcast, Allah Hafiz.